That's interesting because I'm sure I remember us discussing sometime on a previous show that a person who has adequate short-term memory but really bad long-term memory could presumably consent to treatment because they can hold in information in their mind long enough and make a judgment in that moment to say treatment is okay, even if next week they can't remember doing it.
I think that in that scenario, then I would say if the person can say yes at this moment in time, but then they can't remember it, then capacity will be an issue because you have to be able to retain it.
So if they can retain it long enough for the treatment, surely that's all that matters, isn't it?
Well, I think if you're going to come back next week and the person comes back to you next week and you've treated them, and then you say, do you remember what we did last week? And then they say, well, I've no idea what you're talking about. What happened last week? I would have then concerns about that person, really, right. Even if they were able to hold it long enough for you to do that treatment. The fact that they came back, they've come back the following week and they can't remember anything that you've done to them, to me would raise concerns about their ability to retain the information and remember what it is that actually happened. So I would have questions about that individual's capacity, and as such would then need, I would be advising then that you need to have more to sort of review the systems that you've got as to whether they are consistent with enabling individuals.
But the practicality of this is if a person comes into my treatment room on their own, they're compos mentis enough to get to my treatment room and come in and tell me what they're there for. I've got pain in my arm, my neck, my back. And I explain what I want to do, and they understand that. Maybe I ask them to tell me back what it was I said I wanted to do to them, and are they happy with it? I've got a choice here. If I say, well, I don't think you're going to remember this information next week, what actually do I do with that patient? It's all very well for you to say I might have concerns about it, but what actually does that mean in terms of handling that patient?
I think because you can have a person can have the ability to make choices and decisions, simple decisions. What we're talking about here is complex decisions. So so just because someone lacks capacity doesn't mean they can't make decisions. And I think there's two different things. We're talking about the ability to make very complex choices and decisions, particularly when you're referring to something like an LPA, then that to me would be a complex decision. But if you're talking about day-to-day decisions, what you're referring to, then that's slightly different, really.